And a good morning. Welcome to the special edition, Friday edition, featuring the guru of sports, the G-Man. He's in the house. Thanks for being here, G. Thanks for getting up.
Yeah.
He's been up since about 5:45.
He asked me at every practice, when's the next show? When's the next show? That's completely fine. Glad to have him in here. Glad he cares. We'll make sure
he
gets in
cares.
here. Does he care?
He cares.
Okay, as long as he cares. That's the important part.
God.
Still just we're still hard to believe we're still 2 weeks away from NFL football getting started.
Yeah.
And the preseason, I guess they started the preseason games a week late since there were only 3 of them. Yeah.
No, they did 3 preseason games last year, didn't they?
I thought this was the first year of 3. Maybe last year was the first year of 3. I got nothing.
No, I think.
Why do you think you're here? That's why you're here.
I think it was last year.
Okay,
First
well,
year 3.
that's why you're here, because I don't know. I just watch it. Morning, Milton. Glad to have you in here. Chris, good morning. College football gets an earlier start with the big game this weekend with Notre Dame and Navy, and that's across the pond. And usually don't have college games this early.
I don't know.
Well, why don't you know?
I don't know. The Ravens finally lost a preseason game. It feels like 10 decades since they lost a preseason game.
Was it 21 games? 21 preseason games?
It's been a long time.
Now let me ask you
since the
this.
Ravens lost a
All right,
preseason
can you
game.
tell me the last time an undefeated preseason team won the Super Bowl? Yeah, I think that
Give me a minute.
you might want to get back to me on that next week.
Say never.
Yeah, get back to me on that one next
All right,
week.
I don't
so you
think
can-
there ever has been.
So nobody cares. Nobody cares about that
Hey,
preseason.
we just want him to play in December.
Huh?
We just want him to
I
play
know,
in
that's what I'm
December.
saying. Just, and of course the big topic tonight is most, if not all, high school games have been pushed back. A lot of them pushed back to 8 o'clock. Even the ones that start at 7 have been pushed back to 8. Mooresville is one of those. They take on Reagan tonight. That was a 7 o'clock kick, been pushed back to 8 o'clock. Now, to me, I don't think there's much difference between 7 and 8 o'clock.
No.
Not with the heat the way it is.
No.
We're out there every night.
We are. But I think the warm-up time, the ability to go out, get loose, those kind of things, there's a difference between 6 and 7, right? So when you played high school football, when I played, what time did you start your games?
8 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's a reason for that.
yeah, but let me tell you where the problem is. I don't have a problem with 8 o'clock starts if they will adjust the flow of the games. The games last way too long. And here's the other thing.
I agree.
Just like
They're
every
way
other
too
sport,
long.
when you talk about the NFL or college and you talk about the safety issues,
Yes.
it does not take one thing away from the game if you change some things to have some running clocks. You don't get as many plays, but guess what? It affects both teams equally.
It does.
Yeah.
So you don't get as many plays. You don't have as much exposure out there, and the game flows better.
Lenny, last year at halftime, when we finally got to halftime against Bandy's, it felt like we played 3 ball games. If the pass is incomplete or they run out of bounds, you know what you do? You set the ball and you wind the
Right.
clock.
I agree. No, I agree.
But why were games started at 8 o'clock? Why?
Oh, I have no
Because of
idea.
the
Because
heat.
I'm old?
No, because of the heat. And then all of a sudden, you know how we get. Well, it's too late for the kids to be out, and people are traveling. So let's
Nobody cares.
let's get them. We need to get started. An hour or 30 minutes earlier. And it drives.
I know,
me
but let me
insane.
back up because I'm older than you, regardless of what JR thinks. I'm older than you.
That's true.
When I came through school, okay, we never had an early out because of heat. Okay?
No.
And you may tell you something else? We didn't have air conditioning.
Well,
I didn't see the first air-conditioned school building till they built a new junior high when I went into the 9th grade, and there was still high schools that didn't have air conditioning in them.
We didn't
Our
have
elementary schools didn't have them. You set big fans up. You didn't go home early. You didn't do nothing. It was just another day at the office.
Well, anyway, I went to Valdez Junior High. Now, Valdez Elementary was not new, but it was a newer school, and it did have air in it. We go to junior high the next year, grades 7 through 9, 2-story building, windows as tall as this, from ceiling to floor here. Well, when it's hot, you know what they did? They raised them up, and you were lucky if you had a fan in the classroom.
And there were no screens.
Degrees.
There were no screens on the
no,
it. Bugs and bees and everything.
We'd be jumping out of them on the second floor.
That happened too. I saw that. Yeah.
You know, the point is like we are more acclimated to the inside than the outside now, right? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we've got to, where there's a yin, there's a yang. For everything, equal and opposite. It's true. My thing is, if you're worried about the heat, okay, let's think about a couple of things that we can do to not have to worry about it as much. Heat stroke, heat exhaustion, those kind of things. What can we do? Well, number one, we start football in the summer. Maybe, just maybe, we should have 4 or 5 seasons in a year, okay? And maybe we should have a season for, like a mini season for like sports like tennis and soccer. This way kids don't have to choose between sports, right? Baseball would be good to play from August 1st until the end of September. Start football at the end of September. Run your regular season all the way through up until the Christmas break. Then, when you come back from Christmas break, week or two, then you start your high school football playoffs. What is the worst weather of the year? Is it winter or spring? It's spring. Tornadoes, high winds, 21 day, 70 the next. So why are we playing outside sports and starting outside sports season, with the exception of football? Why would we start that in February? Why would we not be doing basketball and wrestling, for example, from February until the beginning of May or the end of April, and then have another mini sports season where kids could, where kids have the option to play, again, boys and girls, right? Figure it out. Tennis, soccer, track. That way they're not overlapping in the same season. But you know what you'll hear? This is the way we've always done it.
And I'm going to ask you
That's why it's broken.
The other side of
You're
it is
restricting opportunity.
The other side of it is we and I'm going to ask you a question about baseball in a minute because of my very lack of knowledge. When we look at sports, we think that the sports have to be played at the exact same time, whether you're in Miami or Houston or Minneapolis or Bangor, Maine. I mean, it's there's different. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't there some northern schools that do, especially in college, do some split baseball seasons? They play a little bit in the fall and then they come back in the spring.
Okay, great question. So you can do that now. When I was going through, we did it the first year, and then they shut it down after that for a long, long time. And you just did spring, right? If you played any in the fall, it would count against your spring. So now, for example, with Quinn, who's going back to school tomorrow, Hill, what they'll do is they'll be in school about a month, not quite a month. Then they'll start their fall season, and they'll play some. Now, whether they're scheduling games against other teams this year, I'm not sure, but they have the option to do some of those things, and then, get ready for, in prep to get ready for the spring. But the thing about it is, and I'm not sure to answer your question about that part of it, but I don't know. I don't think the fall has anything to do reflective of your spring record. But for me, it's so, I say unfair. You live where you live, and that's okay. All right. People in Miami shouldn't be punished for their baseball season or softball or whatever for people that live in Alaska. All right, or in Minot, whatever. So, but at the same time, you've got to find kind of common ground in this whole thing. And, people have just settled in, and we're creatures of comfort and habit. And, me personally, I would like to see college baseball start the first week in March and run like it does. I'd like to see high school baseball either start in late March or move it to the fall early. They don't let anybody pitch anyway, right? Yeah. Oh, if he throws 2 innings, he's got to sit out 10 days because
how many years
he threw 42 pitches.
How many years has fall baseball been in effect? I mean, that's 25 years because I was at Bunker Hill, I think, when that kind of started.
No, you're right. And to that point, it's kind of like spring football in South Carolina. people will make adaptations and adjustments based on the need that is out there. Government, which are our public schools, are always, and I say always, not 100%, 99 probably is a good number, late to the game on any adaptations and changes, especially when it comes to sport. Well, sports are not the most important thing. That is not true.
Every activity in school is important, whether it's band or shop or bricklaying or
it used
anything.
To infuriate me as someone that went to school at East Burke. For someone, and we didn't have a lot of teachers that did this. Our teachers were fantastic. Like, they were all about, hey, how'd you guys do Friday night? How'd you play basketball? This night, how'd y'all wrestle? How'd you do baseball? They were great. But there's always one or two that you playing sports is not the most important thing. You being here on time is.
Making you a rounded individual.
Yeah, ma'am, I don't disagree that I should not have been late. I did run to the restroom. I hurried. We only have 4 minutes between classes in this enormous building. Everybody else was here. I was wrong. I'm sorry, but I was like 2 seconds, and we didn't have walls.
And it had nothing to do with
we had dividers.
It had nothing to do with outside curriculum.
I was in the air jumping into, the classroom between the dividers, literally, okay? And the point is, marginalization of something, is not, whenever someone marginalizes, something that someone else does, often it's because that person can't do it themselves.
There's a lot of things that you have to adapt to. Now, I'm not remembering properly. I can tell because I've slept since then. Did they make the change in college or pro football? There's going to be a running clock on out of bounds plays now in college or pro. One of them.
I think it's in college.
Okay, they're going to do that so that they can speed up the game a little bit.
They need to. Yeah. It's getting to be. It's too much. Okay, it's an incomplete pass. Let's wait 2.5 hours, and then we're going. Here's the snap the ball. Let's. The clock starts. I mean, come on, man. There's only so many commercials in Buffalo Wild Wings things we can watch.
But let me tell you something.
Before we all try to get there.
Let me tell you the other thing though that they need to do. One thing I'll give credit to NASCAR. Okay, because NASCAR started this. And it's one of the greatest inventions that's always been there, is NASCAR started doing the split screen because NASCAR never stops.
Yes.
So they would split the screen. They would run a commercial with the audio. Didn't need any audio in the game that's going on.
Right.
And I want to say that there are maybe it's on the Red Zone channel or something. They do some things like that. There are things to be able to continue to capture the advertising dollars, okay, without – am I keeping you up?
Yeah.
Okay. The guy's been studying late into the hours and early in the morning.
So if there's a way to accommodate both things, I think, in my opinion, you're going to get more eyeballs on it when you do it that way than taking a break away from the broadcast. That's when somebody says, all right, I got to go pee. All right, I got to get another beer. Lindsay says that AEW Wrestling does picture-in-a-picture.
Oh, yeah, she's right. Yep.
I mean, but if they would adapt that with more of the sports, you can – because that's been the complaint, well, we got to get all these spots in.
Yeah, so why have the same camera angle take up the whole screen when if you do split screen, it's going to show the exact same thing.
Right.
And it's just going to be a little bit smaller.
Richie says F1.
That's right.
He says F1 doesn't even take a break.
On the talking about Fox.
That's
F1
Formula Racing.
Yeah, Formula One.
Yeah,
Right.
They don't even take a break.
Well, the thing about it, I think too, Laney, when all of us that are talking about this and here listening and watching today, engagement is what we're there for. When it all comes down to it, it's some type of engagement with the activity with each other, those kind of things. It's so hard to stay 100% engaged, because of human nature, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, well, your ADD's kicking in. No, we're just normal. We need to be able to have a minute to do a couple things and refocus again on what we like, right?
Yeah.
We talk about managing energy. You can't be 100%. It's like putting, having a Ferrari that runs 100 miles an hour, all the time and never slows down. That's not the way the car works.
No.
Right? And it's that way with viewership. That's a great point, what you brought up.
And I'll
about the
give you,
split screen.
Richie said the Braves do a quick word from our sponsor, and it's literally a 10-second
Yeah,
spot, and they come
yeah.
right back. Well, let me
Yeah, I
tell
like
you.
that.
Let me tell you something.
What's wrong with that?
Let me tell you something.
Nothing.
My wife worships the TV. Okay, that's her best friend behind Rolo. I mean, honestly, she can't travel in a car. She can't.
You are.
I'm not even close. I'm not even sure I'm in the top 5. So anyway, she does not watch any live TV. So if there's a show on from 7 to 8 tonight, she tapes that show, DVRs it, whatever, and then she watches it after it goes off so she can blow through the commercials.
Got it.
So if there's more and more people doing that,
Yes.
you're losing your advertiser eyeballs.
Correct.
To where if you split screen it, they don't go
You're
away.
fine.
They're still there.
Yeah,
and
you
you
can do more
because you're
content.
not gonna fast forward through the commercials.
This is a great point, and it's kind of what G said. Does it really matter? If you have 2 cameras on there, I think that it does matter to his point, for the viewership, because sometimes we like to see what goes on in between plays. People that have never had the opportunity. Let's see, Link was an official, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he's been down the field. I know Richie played. Milton understands these things. If you've never been down on the sidelines or engaged in play, it's fascinating the things that we take for granted, right? That go on in between plays and before, the exchange of possessions and all these things. Just the interaction that goes on, the emotional side of things, all the things that display human nature. So it's pretty cool if you do keep the screen, like you're saying, do a little advertisement over here, but then show kind of the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and the between plays.
Right.
If you
Sometimes
notice,
people want to see like coaches talk to all
Yes.
the players. Or
yes.
something like that.
If you notice
exactly
on our feed, there's a rotating box up in the corner with sponsor flags on it. Okay, sponsor banners are always rotating right there on the screen. So that's what you do. Now, Justin brought up a good point. Good morning, Justin. Good morning, Chad. Chad said Friday Night Football.
All
Justin
right,
said,
Chad.
well, if the commercials were as entertaining as they are in the Super Bowl, maybe the average viewer wouldn't mind it.
So that's a great point. Who was that? I can't see the screen.
Justin, one of my former ball players.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great
That
point.
is a good point.
Well, I think, too, though, that in a world where we celebrate everything, so-and-so lost his 8th tooth. Prayers for him and, his mouth healing, and, or so-and-so's going off for their 7th year of college. It never gets easier, da-da-da. I mean, we celebrate everything. And how do we triumph over the last thing that we posted?
We kind of get numb.
Yeah, that's what I'm going at. So, I don't think it's a bad idea, to Justin's point, that maybe we don't have those kind of commercials except that one time a year that gives us that opportunity. But they still have to have sponsorships.
And to bring up the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, I saw a thing yesterday, I read a thing yesterday that the projected cost of a 30-second spot in this year's Super Bowl, $7 million. Now, Lindsay brings up a good point, but I need to take a break. Lindsay brings up a good point about commercials and spots and being, how does it affect you if you're there live watching the game? We'll talk about that next.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
And welcome back.
Oh, me.
Glad to have you here on a Friday morning, warm Friday.
When's Lindsay coming up this way?
She'll be up here in the next time will be the 23rd of September.
I'm right here.
And that's a Sunday. That's a
right
Sunday,
here.
but that will be, we're having a baby shower for Wesley and his wife.
Where?
Over at our church in the
Here?
Arbor thing.
Here?
Yeah. On the 23rd. You'll get an invitation.
Fantastic.
You'll get an invitation. Yeah. Steve Lowe, good morning. Justin, Justin said, I got here late, not sure how the conversation started. We don't start conversations. We just go down rabbit holes, whatever it kind of goes. If we're talking non-game timeouts during game time, I can't stand official booth reviews in the NFL. To me, I think those take away the importance value of the coaching challenges.
Yes, that's a great point. And you know, the other leagues like the XFL and the USFL, they have it where it's interactive so you can hear what they're reviewing.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
If you'd make it a part of it, people would be.
Yes, and to Justin's point, that he's right, because we don't know what's being said.
Yeah.
Everything's a secret.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I've said this for the NFL for a long time. You find very little stoppage in a college football game for review.
Yes.
But they review every play. Every play is under the eye, and only if they feel like they need to stop it. But they don't have these, and it's supposed to be a 30-second review, but it never works that way.
But then it turns out to a 5-minute
Yep,
review.
yep.
You're right.
It never works that way.
Because they're afraid if they do something, they might hurt somebody's feelings. And, it's
I like getting it right, but I'm not sure that a review gets it right.
Lanny, I'm still broken on this. And the level of accountability with professionalism, it came in.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason for the review process.
Yeah.
You have officials that work really, really hard, and they're human. They're going to make mistakes just like coaches and players do. And the thing about it is, well, that official did this. Well, maybe you should have called something different as a coach, or the player should have reacted differently 5 plays ago, and you wouldn't be in this situation. I don't like the fact that they're taking the human element out of things. I am one that believes in getting things right, but also – you also have to understand that whether it be sport or anything else, life is life. And you've got to be able to hear the word no and move on regardless of whether you're right or wrong. And I'm not so sure that gambling and
That's the biggest
outcome of
driving.
games
That's the biggest driving force right
didn't
there.
have because of probabilities. It was always the improbable that caused the swing of the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm not against anyone or their opinion about, well, I like reviews because it gets it right. I'm okay with somebody believing that or that's their opinion. That's okay. Not going to criticize that. I'm just saying I'm not sold on this thing yet because I really feel like human element, as long as there's accountability for that person calling the game.
As long as it just didn't get out of hand. That's the biggest thing.
And I agree.
Mm-hmm. Lindsey talked about, before we went to break, I told you, what slows down college football and the NFL football are these long breaks for commercials, and you're sitting in the stands. Okay?
Oh.
In case you didn't know it, most of the time the programs that you see that you think are live on TV aren't. They've been pre-recorded so the audience doesn't have to sit there for a 3-minute commercial break. And next time you're at a game that's being televised, look for the guy with 2 big red mittens. I mean big red mittens. And you'll see him find an official and stand, 10 yards off the sideline with the official like this, meaning they're in a TV timeout. And it's not until he puts those hands down and starts to walk off that the officials will start to get the game back into play. I'm okay with breaking away between quarters, and you can give me all the commercials you want during halftime, but you split screen would be so much more effective, I think.
And it would also, make people want to watch it and not all right, let's just go somewhere for the next 10 minutes and then we'll come back. And then we'll
No, you're right. I mean, it's engagement because you can see things that are happening at halftime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Whether you are someone that enjoys halftime entertainment with maybe a band or a group of dancers that come out and do their routine. These kids work. I say kids; they're older, young adults, but they work really hard, right? Mm-hmm. They work really hard. And, some people like to see the engagement. Now, the people that say, well, yeah, you should have bought a ticket, come on. Well, maybe you can't. Maybe you have, maybe you have a sickness. Maybe you have an ailment. Maybe you have a disease where, you're not, but yet you want to enjoy those things. What kind of access is available?
Right.
I mean, where is it?
Lindsay's right. She said we avoid early games in Chapel Hill, especially if they're in the afternoon. Now, a lot of places like Lenore Ryan, their first couple of weeks, they'll play 6 o'clock games before they go those 1 o'clock games because of the heat.
They should.
And Milton said booth reviews shouldn't take 5 minutes.
Right.
And if you notice, if a bad call gets overturned, the official that got it wrong will get even with another. I've said that forever. I have said that forever. That was a makeup call right there. That was a makeup call.
Element. I mean,
I know, but it's the way it is.
No. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's my point. That's the part where we all got to kind of work together. Now, the problem is when it's the official that doesn't know, any better, or has never really been, trained for the game. We had a game a couple of years ago that we played, about 25 minutes from here that was really badly officiated because there wasn't enough experience for that game. Just like, at East Surrey a couple of years ago, we had 2 guys on that crew that were not ready for that game. Mm-hmm. They had a really bad call against East Surrey early in the game. They had a really bad one against us. And these are things that, again, human element, that's going to happen. And I just, the guy was wow. I said, look, you got to come back over here and tell us when we got a question about something and you make a call like that, you've got to be able to communicate with us because it's confusing to everyone because everyone knows that it was the opposite of what you called. So we need to understand if hey, coach, I missed it, or if no, I really feel like I got it right. This is an integrity issue. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not doing this. You need to stop talking. I said, you know what? This game is too big for you.
If you can't discuss things,
I can't stand it when those guys do that. I'm not, when I'm talking to those guys, officiating, or even like when Audra calls, she's really good. If I got a question about something, I can communicate with her. She will talk to me. She'll say, I disagree. I said, that's fine. Or she'll say, you know what? Yeah, she's really, really good about owning the situation because I think she's honest, right? It's in games like that that are of that high magnitude. Like when we played West Lincoln a couple years ago, there were several things that West Lincoln did. That worked against them with calls. The same thing against us. The game was too big for the people. They weren't trained, ready for that. And I'm not being critical. What I'm saying is you got to get this stuff right when it comes to those kind of games.
And I'm okay with the missed calls. And if I bring it to your attention, that you say, "You're right, Coach. I missed that one." That's all I need. I don't want you to go back and do anything different.
Right.
Just
talk to me.
Just
so
talk
I
to me. That's right.
understand what I'm dealing with.
And I've told this story.
help.
I've told this story, and this is my best officiating. Well, I have so many officiating stories because they tried to mark me off their list. I was doing basketball at West Lincoln, and Al Graves.
Oh, yeah.
And Al had a partner. Known Al for years. He's chair boy. He missed a call under the basket.
Yeah.
And when we were coming up the floor, I'm like, "Come on now, how do you miss that?" His buddy, who was trailing, stopped and teed me up. I didn't say anything out of the way. I didn't get on the floor. Very seldom did I even stand up.
Right.
He teed me up, and I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I wasn't even talking to you." "Coach, that's enough. Sit down." So we went to halftime. We were coming back from the dressing room. We had a hospitality room in the back. We was at home at West. And met Al coming through the halls. He said, "Lanny, I missed that call." I said, "I know you did." I said, "I just wanted to make sure that
just talk about it.
I felt like you missed that call." I said, "That's all I was looking for." Then I saw the other official coming, and he came up to me and said, "Coach, you do not want your kids seeing that kind of behavior." And I said, "Hey, when the calls are as damn bad as yours are, I don't care what they say. I didn't get a call the rest of the night from him."
But first of all, that's not for him. He is to call the game, not worry about how you deal with your kids. I talk all the time about players and coaches and officials. Play in your sandbox. I had a baseball official 25 years ago. We're playing second or third round state. I think it's second round state playoff. And I'm ripping chewing his rear end out. He missed a damn call that was so bad. I said, "You can't do that. There is no way." I said, "It's so evident." I said, "That was not a bang bang play. That is way too easy for you to miss." "Coach, you're setting a bad example for your kids." I said, "Let me tell you two things. Number one, I may be 23, 24 years old. And the example I'm setting is I'm going to do everything I can do to fight for them because of how hard they work."
That's the whole problem.
I said, my guys kill themselves because I'm the most belligerent rear end in the world when it comes to coaching.
Yep.
Back then, I'd never let my kid play for me back then, by the way. It was awful. And I said, "I'm going to fight to the bitter end for how hard." He said, "You don't make enough money to get this upset." I said, "You have no idea what it's about."
Yeah.
God Almighty!
And see, that was my thing. That's my thing always. When I'm after an official or a call, it's because you screwed my kids. That's all I'm after. You take it out. That my kids pay that price. I didn't pay a price. I'm standing on the sideline.
You need to calm down. You're too. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute. First of all, what I do is not really any of your business.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm out here with these guys every day. All right, I make less than 7 cents an hour, okay, for what I do. So if you think money has anything to do with it, you can forget it. That ain't what it's about. There's a certain window in life that we all have to do certain things. Like you and I coaching this little league team together. We will probably never do this again, right? I enjoy and embrace every minute with you and Robbie and Randy and Steven and Chris and Jason and and G and all his friends, because
Absolutely.
I've seen those windows over the year. I mean, I remember when Quinn was this age. He's gone.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think marginalizing another person, especially coach that puts in what they put in and planning and worrying and caring, to marginalize what they're doing or how they're acting, that's not playing your sandbox.
Yeah. And my chewing on an official was never a personal thing to the official, except for one. I won't bring his name up, but it was because I felt like you took an opportunity away from my kids. Now, Justin, let me get your comment in here. It said, "Blows my mind how much of the stickler the NFL is for their archaic practices. Always amazed me how the XFL are able to think outside the box and evolve, and college and outside the game to make it much better. The NFL's at least 5 years behind." They just said she loves the games under the lights at Keenan, but TV money sets the times. All of these schools, when you're talking about Power 5, they set the TV times on Mondays the week before. Then Justin said, I know all about those let me back up here. I know all about those bad officiating. I played for Highland Tech. We should have been undefeated so many years. Thank you, Justin. That's my boy. That's a lineman. That's a lineman, too.
That's fantastic.
Lincoln says, good morning, Lincoln. He said, that's a problem all over the country.
Yes.
Shortage of officials,
Low
very
pay.
low pay.
He's right.
North Carolina's the worst, and schools never provide facilities.
Let me tell you, who was that, Link?
Link, yeah.
Okay. So, Link, I can tell you this. I 110% agree with everything you said. I said immediately out of the box it should be doubled. Okay? And there should, because, the accountability
But it comes with
standards-
credibility.
That's what I'm saying. But the standards are raised. And what you can't do is water things down. Like the American Legion's got it all wrong, I think, in my opinion. They want all these teams everywhere. Well, now they got 8th and 9th graders playing American Legion baseball because the older kids are like, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing that. I want to play with the best players. We have cuts. We have tryouts. It's not, hey, can you come play on my team? Mm-hmm. Can I come get – I told him years ago, Lanny, I told him. It was 10 years ago. I said, if you let another team start in this county, I'm done. I said, it's not that I don't want kids to play baseball, but me, coming through American Legion all these years as a player and then coaching it, I want it to be an elite form of baseball, not a participatory thing. Mm-hmm. I don't want it just to be about participation. And I want it to be strict, hardcore, heavy-duty, heavy-laden competition. That's what I want to be involved in. Now, what I want and what they want, obviously, are two different things. They're the ones in charge. But what happens is, what's the quality of Legion done? Mm-hmm. They implemented all these crazy rules.
Well, and
they went to 7 innings. Oh, you can re-enter this starter. It takes all baseball out of it and makes it baby ball. I want to get back in it, but they got to do
It's another
something.
one of those things where the Legion, I think, and it's because of, like the NFL, they stay in their own world about, well, this is the way we've done it for 25 years, 30 years, 40 years. It doesn't matter. You have to evolve or you get left behind.
See,
I mean,
the problem was they evolved into the high school and JV baseball model instead of even becoming more stringent and saying, okay, we prefer 17, 18, and 19-year-olds to play in this league. We can let kids as young as 15 or 14 come in if they're exceptional and can make the team. But we're going to have less teams, therefore the quality's higher. No, they were on a push to let anybody that was breathing have a team. Well, what do you think that does when you put together 11 players for 26 games of baseball? Well, I got to go on vacation. My stomach hurts today. It's hot outside. My big toe hurts. Now you can't throw but 3 in it or 30 pitches. You got to take 17 days off because you're going to the you're going to get drafted in 2 years and you got to watch your arm and all this. I wish I had pitched more. I wasn't a very good pitcher, but I wish I had pitched more because I could never do it again. You have a window of time, and we are shattering.
Yep.
And closing that window.
What's happening? But what's happening is you're getting athletes that are finding other avenues that will let them play the way they were meant to be played.
Competition.
And you're finding the older model is dying out because they wouldn't adapt.
Well, the protection model is what's dying out. And playing 9 innings and not having a pitch count. There were many nights when our guys would go 9 innings or 11 or 12. It's hot. They're kids. Oh, you're going to ruin his arm. Well, I mean, okay, come up with a new phrase that you haven't heard from somebody else. Like, do your own research. Stop repeating what you hear. Learn and actually know about what the hell you're talking about, okay? Use of something does not cause injury, okay? It's when the pieces around it are not working appropriately or getting exhausted is when then it puts things at bay for injury. When your form and technique are starting to be sacrificed because you're getting tired, then it's time to come out because what's going to happen? You're going to get what? Hurt because you're not paying attention.
That's correct.
Lanny, this whole thing is absolutely insane. It's like in high school football, you can't hit but a certain number of minutes a week.
I know.
So you're not able to train for what you are doing, that what your head might get hurt. take the helmet off. Work on the shoulder. Work on with the dummies. Work on the shoulder. We're talking person to person contact. You can still do contact and drills that aren't fitting drills that aren't full bore and all that. Well, yeah, but that's not what the rule's intended for. The rule's talking about scrimmage play, and they've got to be able to fit up.
Well,
I
a lot of
times, see if you're dropping your head.
A lot of times you find, and I've said this, and we've talked about this. I think there's more injuries occur because you do not have enough physical contact because you don't get to control that when the action's going on.
What about your body? What's it? And you always use the word
callous.
It's not callous.
It's got to get callous. Yeah.
A great example. David Kraft sends me a text a few minutes ago. Friday, Fat Friday, Wild Bunch. How many times did 4 win at Fat Friday? 1 time in 3 years. All right, 1 time. It was incredible. But 1 time.
It's not like it used to be.
It's incredible.
So I'm going to bring up a completely new topic.
Let me take a break, and then we will. I'll give it to you as soon as we come back.
All right.
Lindsay said, Dad still holds the record for which you could get a tee in a basketball. How quick? I did. Richie said, I gave a tee to a coach in Charlotte because he was mad we didn't call a lane violation on a free throw. We had called it, but it doesn't take effect unless the shooter misses. That's
right.
Correct.
Yep.
If the basket went in, you're not getting an extra one. The coach was crawling on the bench and yelling, and he got a tee. Well, first of all, and this is a point that Lincoln always said, he said, sometimes the coaches don't know the rules about what they're complaining about.
I agree with him 100%.
Richie said it was a youth church league, too. Well, that tells you. Bob said Earl Weaver was a bad example for 4. Milton said, I remember at Bunker Hill, Coach Westbeam got ejected over questioning a bad call and was escorted to the bus. Richie said Highland Tech got destroyed this past weekend in South Carolina. Link said NFL officials used to be the very best, however, not anymore. That's a thing, and I've said this with all the money that's in college athletics and all the money that's in the NFL, those need to be full-time paid positions, and that's what you concentrate on.
What,
Todd
backs?
Said, huh?
What, running backs?
No, officiating. Yeah. Todd Arm said Ethan had his first soccer practice yesterday. After the game, he said, Daddy, you didn't talk to me during soccer. I had to explain to him while he is on the field, he is the coach's. I explained to him how you can learn it both from me and coaching or talking to you at the same time. He agreed. Imagine a 3-year-old understanding that concept. Well, that's the point that most people don't understand. When your kid comes to play, unless I am physically abusing them, you need to let me coach them because – they're the most important thing to me on that field at that time. I mean, that's period.
We love them.
Michael Wyatt, good morning, said, I hope American Legion Baseball can get back to the high level. Yeah. It is good for baseball and good for the community. Bob said, I believe post-48 will see better changes soon.
They are.
And Milton says, no calluses equals injury.
Baby.
And I've said that, Yes. And I've said that forever because that's the way it is. Take a break, and it's G time.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange.
And welcome back. Glad to have you here on a Friday. Warm Friday, already 75 degrees. Going to be close. They're saying that it's probably not going to break the record.
No,
we're looking at 96 instead of 98. 98 was set way back. I
mean, we're acting like, not me and you, but I mean, it's so.
It's never happened before.
It's the hottest day ever. Let me tell you something. Does anybody remember, like, back in, like, 07, in 09, when like, over the 4th of July, it's like 103, 104, what was it, 08 or 09? For that week stretch, it was like 104, 105 down in Charlotte. I mean,
just look at it.
Let's
for last year, we're
bit.
not even going to come close to the number of 90 degrees
That's what I'm saying.
days we had last year.
It's the hottest it's ever been in the history of the world.
No, we're not even come close this year.
Okay,
not
so,
even come close.
When I'm watching the dinosaurs walk around and the volcano in the background, I mean, I don't know, man. Whatever.
Richie said, I let my kids be coached. The only time I speak to my boys while they're practicing or playing is if they're having behavioral issues. And, well, nobody's going to have behavioral issues. My kids aren't going to have behavioral issues. That doesn't happen. We're not going to have that. Coach is not going to have to tolerate that, and a teacher's not going to have to tolerate that. Let me just say that. All right, E, it's all on you.
So
hit me, G. Go.
So there are a lot of teams that are offering. So Jonathan Taylor was put on the trade block.
Yep.
And there are 22 teams that have offered him.
Okay.
And that number could go up or it could go down. But I think that they are looking to draft a new running back.
Well, they can get him for so much less money.
And then you don't have to, because this is his fifth year options.
Jonathan Taylor's is?
Yeah.
So he hasn't got that second contract yet.
So, yeah, they're trying to decide, do we go ahead and pay him now? Do we get rid of him? Or do we extend that rookie contract and then pay him potentially more money or less money? That's what they're trying to ask.
Let me do a breaking story here because I forgot about this, and we're going to come back to that. Bray Wyatt, WWE star Bray Wyatt, passed away yesterday at 36. He had COVID, and he had been diagnosed with heart issues. I don't think he was wrestling, but I think he developed pneumonia and then had some heart issues after that. He was released in 21 and 22. He returned last September, and his real name is Wyndham Rotunda. Now, if you don't know where that comes from, his dad is Mike Rotundo, that was the wrestler, IRS, Shyster.
Yes.
And then he was part of the varsity club back when the Steiners were in this area.
Oh, yeah.
The Wyndham comes from Mike Rotunda married Blackjack Mulligan's daughter. And their real last name is Wyndham.
Yes.
Yeah, Barry Wyndham, Kendall Wyndham, and Blackjack.
Oh, my gosh.
Blackjack's real name was Wyndham.
Wow.
But he went by Blackjack Mulligan. And I was stunned when I saw this yesterday. But he was a very different guy, one of the most creative minds, they said. he wrestled as Erwin R. Shyster and Michael Wall Street. When he was in WCW, he was Mike Rotundo. And I want to say he went to school and wrestled at Syracuse, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So sad news there. And a lot of these people, a lot of these wrestlers are gone way, way too soon. But he's been the Fiend. It was a kind of a scary character, but he was really into the business. But just wanted to mention that because I forgot about that. I saw that story break down yesterday.
Man, I got a friend that lives over in Mountain View that, excuse me, he's in his late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, and he was one of the professional wrestlers that was nobody knew who he was. You know, he was the guy that went in the ring and fought the other guys, and you know, I had a chance to talk to him. We went down.
Better known as the opponent.
Right, yeah, that's what it was, right? And going down to the beach playing golf for a few years, we just talked about these things on several occasions going down there. And Jim was telling me that he said these guys were they were incredible. He said that, they're all really good friends. He said they their families, and he said it was just what you see on TV is strictly entertainment. He said there is no.
Not like it used to be. That's why I don't watch it as much.
He said it's it's just incredible how tight of a unit that they all were. And he said nowadays things are a little different. It's more commercialized and it's more spread out. But he was just talking about how much he liked all of the wrestlers and how family oriented things were all outside the ring. Just away from things.
The ones that I've had the opportunity to meet outside the ring, I'm talking about stars that I met years ago, are amazing. They're just real people. They're just real people. Let me ask you this question, G. You're talking about NFL.
Yep.
What happens to Trey Lance?
Take it. Go get it. Go.
Once Jimmy G got injured, he realized, wow, this league these defenses are so much better.
Yep.
These defensive ends, outside linebackers, defensive tackles are super strong and super fast.
Yep.
These corners are incredible.
Yep.
These safeties know what they're doing. These linebackers can hit me whenever I try to run.
Where's he going?
And where's he going?
Yeah.
Straight to free agency.
And who do you think will try to pick him up?
Oh, gosh.
Because I know there's like 5 or 6 teams that would be very interested, but Zach Wilson's kind of the same.
Yeah, Zach Wilson's kind of the same way.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
the Jets are hanging on to him, but Trey Lance.
Well, they should. The Jets should hang on to Wilson.
Yeah.
But just as a backup.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's the other thing. This is the part, and this is something that Cowherd says all the time. And this is the part where I think some franchises get caught up, like we were talking about officials. If you call an official out on a missed call, as soon as he says, you're right, I missed that one, I didn't see it, you're good. GMs and teams, because they spent so much money and so much draft capital on a player, to find out that they missed, they keep hoping something will change instead of just admitting that they missed and move on. And that's what they've done with Trey Lance. That's what they're doing with Zach Wilson at the Jets. But, and everybody thought it was help me, Green Bay, Love.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, but, looks like he's going to be okay.
I've got a lot of faith in him.
Good.
But
Good.
The only thing is that team around him is not.
Well, it's going to be the same story, different quarterback. There's nothing different about this. What you're going to see is, to your point, you and I talked about this the other day.
Yes.
On the way to practice. What you're going to see is you're going to see really how good Aaron Rodgers really was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how and what he had to deal with. Think about us all at work, at our job. When the pieces around us aren't good, sometimes we get really pissed. We get really upset. Sometimes we might just quit. Think about how that guy felt. And you tag money to him and say, well, he makes all this money. Say, yeah, life is life.
Ooh.
Money's a number, okay? All right? When,
And it's not like every one of us had lost money on something.
Yeah, and your perception is your reality, right? Unfortunately. Okay, in a lot of, I say unfortunately in a lot of cases. We're going to find out how good this guy really was.
Yeah.
On how teams were not structured around him with his input. You think for 1 second that Bill Belichick never sat down with Tom Brady and said, Tommy, we got this, we got this, we got a chance to get this guy. How do you think he'll fit in our system and what we're trying to do?
Oh,
you
no,
don't think Belichick did that? If you say no, you're wrong.
You're very wrong.
You're wrong.
Because
you're one of, it's not Belichick is he is a collaborator that is 100% in charge. That's the difference. That is great leadership. Okay, just like Bill Cowher was for all those years.
But with that,
Jimmy Johnson.
It was a democracy, but it became a dictatorship because Bill would have the final say, which you have to.
Yeah.
But I want as much information as I can get.
Just because somebody's a dictator doesn't mean that
That's
they don't
right.
have people around them that they value their opinion.
And he's the guy that his butt's on the
Yes.
line. I mean, he's the guy whose butt's on the line.
I tell the guys when I'm coaching, hey, look, this isn't a constitutional republic or a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dictatorship. But I value the things that, the opinions you have on things and the way what you think and actually the way you feel
Mm-hmm.
about things. I need to know these. I said, I don't care about your feelings, but your social and emotional health is very important.
Yep.
And the way you perceive things is important because that helps me help you.
I
And
need
I'll
all
make the
the
final
information
decision.
I can to make
I'll make it.
decisions.
I'll make the
Yep.
final decision,
Yep.
but we're going to talk about
That's right.
this.
That's right.
It's crazy to think that when a manager in baseball or a pitching coach goes out to the mound, that he's not talking and collaborating with the pitcher in a lot of cases, right? Same thing in football when a coach calls a quarterback over and they're talking about plays. Coach ain't going to say, hey, I don't care what you think, this is what we're doing. No, a lot of times, hey, what are you seeing? What is this guy doing? We're seeing him do this. What are you seeing him do? They need to know how to, respond. That's leadership. Leadership is not necessarily, it's often disguised as dictatorship, but it's the ability to assess information, gather valuable information, reflect on it, and then make a decision going forward because you're the one in charge. And too many people got on Aaron Rodgers because he was being like that because nobody else in that organization, including the head coach, would be.
Yeah.
I don't care if you got a 35-year-old that's the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah.
That's great. But you have to have rough edges that have been rounded through experiences. You can't.
Lindsay
it's
makes a
gotta
good
have
point.
Sequential order.
She said, can we talk about parents who use practice as a spectator sport? I'm completely fine with parents watching practice as long as all they do is watch practice.
It's fine.
Because I'm still coaching,
Yeah,
Bob said when they moved back to Hickory in July 1993, the first 2 weeks it was 100
Yep.
plus for 12 out of 14 days.
days.
He said we lost 3 mature dogwood trees, but yet here we are.
Bob's a survivor.
Richie said that Bray Wine had taken a few months off from wrestling. Lindsay said he was the best, definitely a loss in creativity. And I saw this 2 days ago. Terry Funk passed away.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
But let me tell you something. He was 79, but you want me to tell you a secret?
No, he wasn't.
He was 179 in wrestling years because he's like Mick Foley. The years he's put on that body are incredible. Darnold is number 2, right? He is number 2.
QB numbers. They named him
And he'll get to
the
play.
backup.
Yeah.
And guess what? If Purdy continues to ball, they can make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If they stay healthy like the Rams did 2 years ago.
That's
If
possible.
they stay healthy,
Yeah, it's
if
possible.
that defense stays the exact same way as they did from week 1, which they won't, but if they do, that team is instantly number 1 in the NFC.
Chad Muller
Maybe
says
in the NFL.
Taylor to Miami. Do you like it?
That's
That-
wow.
That's a good point, but I think there's one other team
Who do you like?
that Jonathan Taylor could
Yeah.
go to,
Who is it?
and there's actually a few teams.
But who's the other one?
The one that's probably most likely is either Jacksonville,
Okay,
Denver,
I can see that.
or
who?
Kansas City. Even though, because
Didn't they just release Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Well,
Well,
and
Kansas City hasn't had Kareem Hunt for a few years now.
Yeah, but that's a
Browns.
part of their game that they've missed. But they did it with 7th-round draft picks.
Well, that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean that's what's happened.
Build it.
Lindsay said, I used to tell my students that my classroom was a benevolent dictatorship until I decided to no longer be benevolent. Why are you using those big words with your daddy? I don't know what you're thinking. Milton said, are we going to do a pick'em league this year? Yes, sir. We will. Probably won't get started till the NFL
that'd
window
be
gets
fun.
around.
We need to
Now,
do
let me tell you guys something else. This is coming. and I'll go ahead and do just throw a promo out here for you. I take care of the Lincoln Times News. We have got a new feature that's going to start the first week. There are going to be 15 games that you can pick. They'll be in the paper. They'll be online. You can do an email to give your picks in, or you can send in your picks. 5 high school games, 5 college games, 5 pro games.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay, you'll pick a tiebreaker for the total points in the game. Weekly, that contest will have a $100 prize a week. $100 prize
fantastic.
a week. Lindsay said because vocabulary is important and it was an opportunity to learn a new word. That's awesome. Miss Mervine used to make us use those big ugly words that were in the Reader's Digest. That's all I'll say.
I love it.
Have a great weekend. If you go to high school football tonight,
Yeah, be safe.
hey, be safe. It's going to be warm. We'll see you again next week.